I hope you can see this, see my board. But if you hear the fan in the background, apologies. I'm a bit hot and I had to turn on my mini fan. But before we talk about setting a schedule or a routine or whatever you decide to do, I wanted to talk about the differences between the two from my perspective. You can research and you may even find your own definitions for each of these things. But again, this is based on my interpretation and my experience. So in creating a schedule, or better yet, in creating a process or method for your children, may you be homeschooling full-time traditionally at home, or you may be after schooling your children, you want to determine whether or not you want to do a schedule or simply have a rhythm or routine. I have actually done both. I have had a schedule and I've had a rhythm and a routine. And I'll tell you at the end of the video which one I prefer. So let's talk about a schedule. What is a schedule? A schedule has a set time, and that time is linked to an event or action. What does that mean? For example, you may say, on these particular days, we are going to do reading comprehension. That's your event. We're going to do reading comprehension from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So that says you have a time, 10 to 11, and you link that time to a particular event or action. Again, reading comprehension from 10 to 11. A schedule creates habit without flexibility, in my opinion. That means you have a methodical way or logical way or a procedure or a set method of doing a particular action on a daily basis. However, that action or that process or that habit that has been developed may not be open enough, or it may not be flexible enough to allow other things that are not a part of your schedule to take place. For example, let's go back to reading comprehension. We're used to doing reading comprehension every day or every other day from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. But what happens if we have an appointment? What happens if the laundry machine is going haywire? What happens if a friend comes over? You've developed a habit, which is that action or event, reading comprehension, for that set time, 10 to 11 a.m. So that habit doesn't have any type of flexibility, because if anything out of the ordinary takes place, you would probably go awry. You would probably be a little stressed, or in basic terms, you will no longer be on the set schedule. A box. In my opinion, a schedule keeps you in a nice square box. As you can see with the box, there is no breaks. There is no area within the box where you can come out and do something different. So it keeps you on a regimen. It keeps you on a strict set of events that must take place on a particular day. A schedule, yes, a schedule has a specific order, but that order may bring stress. Let's go back to our example. We have reading comprehension a few days a week from 10 to 11 a.m. And we hope that that habit of doing reading comprehension for those set times, we hope that nothing happens during the day. Because again, if the water leaks, the washing machine goes awry, you have an appointment, all of a sudden the child gets sick, someone comes to visit, or whatever takes place, it can bring potential stress because you are used to doing a particular event or action in a specific order on a specific day. That can be very stressful when something goes awry in your schedule, or what do they say when you throw a monkey in the wrench? No, when you throw a wrench, and I don't know what it's called, whatever it's called. The point is when something unpredictable takes place, when you are on a set schedule and you're used to doing something in a particular order, it will be stressful. It brings unnecessary stress many times. A schedule, in my opinion, also limits inspiration for going off track. So what happens if today at the zoo, they're allowing homeschool parents to bring their kids for free? Or let's say at the museum, they're having a special on a Tuesday, and from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., it is only $1 to get in versus paying $12 per kid. The inspiration to get up, get out, and go to the zoo or go to the museum on that particular day will absolutely take you off track of your schedule. Remember, you're used to doing reading comprehension from 10 to 11 a.m. on certain days. You have built that habit of that particular order, and you don't want any stress. So if you don't want any stress, especially if you want to complete that curriculum by a certain day or certain time, you don't have time for inspiration. You don't have time to go off track. You don't have time to think outside the box. So that's what I say a schedule is, okay? A schedule is also a good thing, in my opinion, especially for younger kids. For younger kids, you want to start off by having a schedule, especially for babies. You want babies to go to bed by a certain time. You want babies to eat or have their bottle or take their nap at a certain time. You have to have events or actions linked to a certain time. You have appointments, doctor's appointments, or whatever type of appointments. Those are linked to a certain time. So of course you would, for those routine type things, you may want to have a schedule associated with it and set some type of time because it's appropriate based on the activity, or it's appropriate based on the child's age, right? Let's talk about rhythm and routine. Rhythm and routine, same thing. A rhythm and routine is just a natural flow of doing things, okay? There is no set time. With a rhythm or routine, there is nothing that says this particular activity or event is associated or linked to this particular action or event. No set time. A rhythm and routine is extremely flexible. You have the opportunity to make whatever changes throughout the day whenever you want. Again, it flows naturally. There is order in a rhythm or routine. It may not be as specific as a schedule, but it does have order. And that order can be predictable. But it, again, offers opportunity for change without stress. What does that mean? Well, think about it. What is one of the routines or rhythms that you're in the habit of doing? When you wake up in the morning, let's say your habit is waking up, taking care of yourself, and taking care of yourself includes brushing your teeth, taking a shower, doing your face routine, putting your clothes on. When you're done with that, you may do some chores. You may go and have some coffee or read or whatever. That is the order, the predictable order of your day when you wake up in the morning, right? But guess what? It has opportunities for change. Let's say this morning something happened all of a sudden. One of the children got sick. You may wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, and take a shower and get ready, do your face routine or whatever. But instead of going outside and reading a book or having coffee or doing some light chores, you may skip that portion and take your child to the urgent care or to their pediatrician, right? If you were on schedule, your cleaning routine would have been at 9 a.m. and you're going to wake up at 7:30 a.m. and between 7:30 and 8:45, you want to do all that self-care stuff. You want to start your chores at 9 a.m. You want to have lunch prepped by 10:30 a.m. You want to have dinner, the meat you're cooking for dinner out in the sink to defrost by noon or by 1. If your child gets sick during that type of schedule, it throws your day off. But if it's not associated, meaning if your habits are not associated with a set time, you have opportunity for change. And sometimes that change can be stressful because you are in the habit to doing things in a natural order, but more than likely it won't bring that much stress because you don't have to catch up. There's nothing to catch up to. That's another area with the schedule. If you do go off track, right? And I said potential stress, that may be because you have to catch up, especially if you have curriculum or you have a particular set milestones that you're trying to meet or you're trying to finish. You will more than likely try to go back and catch up on whatever was missed. The beauty of a rhythm or a routine is that I don't have to catch up. There's always tomorrow. There's always next week. Hey, we'll work it in, right? So a rhythm or routine creates habit with flexibility. We talked about that. I also believe that rhythm and routine creates inspiration. It creates inspiration because it allows space for something better to come along. Remember earlier in my example about the zoo or the museum? In a schedule, you may not take advantage of those things, right? Because we have to catch up and we may not want to catch up. So we may schedule going to the museum or the zoo on a particular day. But in a rhythm or a routine, if you go online and you say, oh my gosh, the zoo is free, or the museum is only $1 versus $12, guess what? Whatever curriculum we were doing or whatever activity we had planned can be on hold. We'll come back to that, but I'm going to allow flexibility so that something better can come along. And that better was that museum and or that zoo. So kids, let's get up, let's get ready. We're going to the zoo today and we will catch up on whatever we did not complete on another day. I'll, bring it back into our homeschooling I will bring it into our homeschooling process on a different day. We'll figure it out. One thing I do want to mention, when you have a rhythm or routine, yes, you will or may get behind on your curriculum. But that's the beauty of homeschooling, right? The beauty of homeschooling full-time is that if you do get behind on your curriculum, you can always work it back in. There is no one that is telling you you must complete chapter 5 within 3 days, or you must complete this topic within the first semester. Curriculum may give you some type of recommended, keyword recommended, suggested order. And it may even assign some recommended time frames, but you don't have to follow that. That's the beauty. You set your own process. You set your own order, right? And you can always go back and finish. You can always work in what's incomplete some other time within the week, semester, quarter, or the year, however you choose to do it. Something else I wanted to mention between schedules and rhythm and routine is that they can work together, guys, or they can work separately. I have had them work together and separately, and this is what I like to do. I like a rhythm and routine. Our homeschool style is rhythm and routine, but I do have some schedule. Let me explain. Within our routine, on a certain day, we have an appointment at a certain time. So within my rhythm and my routine, I set a schedule for our appointments. So on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock, we have somewhere to be for about 30 minutes, an appointment for my son. So I schedule that in my routine. Another way I add scheduling into my routine is on Wednesdays, since we have somewhere to be at 3 o'clock as an example, I ensure that my teaching or my instruction time on Wednesdays end at a particular time, normally 1:30 or 2 o'clock. So that's another event or action that's linked to time. And again, that's how I work my schedule and my routine together. Another schedule that I add to my routine is the fact that at 9 p.m., my son goes to bed. So at the end of our routine, he knows at 9 p.m. he goes to bed. Let's put it together. Routine. My son wakes up. He knows what he has to do. We go about our day. On certain days, we have a scheduled event at a particular time. So I make sure that we are done teaching at a specific time on that day to get to our appointment. When we come back, we continue our day in our routine, whatever the order may be. If something occurs during the day that's unpredictable or out of the ordinary, we stop what we're doing, we attend to that, and we either come back to where we stopped in our routine, or I work in whatever we missed in a different day. And at the end of the day, by a certain time, again, he is scheduled to ensure he goes to bed at 9 o'clock. Does he go to bed or fall asleep? No, but he knows at 9 o'clock he needs to be showered and sitting or laying down in that bed. You can read a book, you can look at the ceiling, you can listen to some light music, but the whole point is at 9 o'clock, buddy, you need to be laying in that bed. So hopefully this made sense, a schedule versus routine. I hope this information was useful.